team in the last game, what kind of growth did you see from your defense kind of as a whole?
Uh, Marie, not to ride like the emotional roller coaster of like you win, you feel good about it, you lose, you feel bad about it. No, but it's just like the steadiness. I thought the maturity to be able to stay in the game no matter what was going on around us. I think that was a big part of it. So I think those guys remaining steadfast throughout the game and just playing the game and doing everything they could to keep it a one possession game, to keep us in it, to keep us right there, I think is the biggest part for us. I love the maturity. I love the growth. I love the people around that. I love how the leaders handle it. Having Ernest back was particularly good for that. The energy that we need and provide each other to go out there and keep playing. Having some of those guys like Aaron and Ernest and really our captains on defense really be the forefront and the leadership of that whole movement of just playing the game, not worrying about anything else, which they don't do too much, but it's human nature to be in the oh woe is me moment when when everything's not going your way, particularly when they go down in the first three possessions of the game and get points.
Speaking of human nature, how happy were you on a personal level when Derion picked off that pass, given what he's kind of gone through the last two seasons?
It's kind of say happy on a personal level for him because like I watch the young man work every day, so it's really tough, and I was really just happy more that you guys got a chance to see the fruits of his labor and some of the stuff that he does behind the scenes and some of the stuff came to work, particularly in the two games versus Seattle. His first game of the season and that game the other day, you got a chance to see some of the things that he can do, is capable of doing if he remains consistent and he remains within the framework of the defense and be able to play that way, hopefully for his duration. But I am Gary in games. I kind of don't even see who the actual person is. I just kind of know what position that is, what's supposed to happen, kind of gray matter type mentality. But after the game, very excited for him and how he played and how he responded to a little bit of adversity from this year, how he's bounced back from adversity from the years prior or the year prior. And really happy to see where he's got the ability to take us into the next stages of what we got to do next coming up.
What did you like about how he handled the weeks leading into today between?
Outstanding. I mean, Stu, it's never easy to get a reduced role, to get your role changed in any matters. Never, but I think it's always a grown men conversation that you got to have, and being able to have those conversations with them and let them know we're going to need you at some point again, and you need you to stay locked in and stay loaded. I love the response that he had in the Green Bay game. Came in for 3 snaps, gave us great live energy plays. Almost got the fumble recovery, picked it up, got a great block. He's out, back to his role. And then for him to respond that way, he's kind of been that way throughout. And he's been really taking a leadership role, and anybody that's kind of had to take a step back for a second to let him know how to deal with it. It's kind of been the motto of consistency on how to deal with a little bit of adversity. That comes with some of his life lessons that he probably wish he can give back. But that's all a part of it as well. We always got to go through something to go somewhere, and I think he's been through a little bit.
You talked about not riding the roller coaster game to game, but in game. Do you have conversations with your players about during a game, hey, don't worry about that first possession, let's keep going, or is that, I guess, left more to like Aaron and some of the other leaders?
No, I think it's kind of done with the preparation of the game plan. We have a thing we call 98-yard job, walk and talk. And I never make it where we just go out there and dominate a team 50-something to nothing, right? I've always put them through the ebbs and flows of how I believe the game's going to go and what can happen if the game doesn't go as well. And it's why you walk the ball down the field, to kind of talk through each situation in the area of the field so you can prepare those guys to be able to see those moments. And then you come off the field sometimes, you can reflect on those moments and be able to go back through that. But it allows me not to have to teach those lessons in game. It allows them to be able to reflect on some of the things that we talked about during the week because of our preparation and the stuff that we put into it. So, it's also why I chew gum relentlessly on the sideline, to keep me in that calm space. And whatever it is that you do to keep you in that calm space and that they do, hopefully rely on some of the teaching points and the coaching points that we had throughout the week to get them through whatever we got to get through for whatever that game is and whatever that game entitles.
How different does this Arizona offense look now with Kyler back compared to the first time he was playing?
You never want to discredit anything that anybody did. I thought Joshua Dobbs did a great job in how they played the game. They played a little bit differently with how they're playing with Kyler. Kyler's an explosive, great football player in this National Football League. Has done some really good things, MVP-like year a couple years ago or was considered, and some of those things I've seen Kyler play really well and I've seen him play really bad against us. So Kyler brings a different element. He's fast, he's dynamic. He can break your heart in one instance with a throw or his legs, and that makes him extremely dangerous. And they're definitely a better football team with him. And that's not a knock on anything that Dobbs did, because I think he's still playing outstanding where he is. But he's their franchise quarterback for a reason, and they paid him all the big bucks to go out there and do that because of who he is. So they're definitely a different offense. They definitely do different things. I'm trying to word this correctly without giving away anything of the game plan, but he's a dynamic football player.
There was a time not too long ago when the guy blows out his ACL. He's done it for sure for a year, if not longer.
He's showing our age, Kurt.
Does that surprise you at all? I mean, yeah, surgery in January.
It really is amazing where doctors have come. I mean, we talk about it all the time with Reggie's and Dr. Elatrash. We around Dr. Elatrash, every week, and I get to see why he's able to walk around like that. I want to be Dr. Elatrash when I grow up. The miracle of the work they do and the stuff that they put into it. But see guys come back off Achilles, they even talk about, not to mention Aaron Rodgers, but it's just the most popular thought. They even talk about Aaron Rodgers coming back from Achilles in the same year. And to watch what we did here with Cam a couple years ago, and to watch some of the miracles of what's going on with the medicine and the preparation and how doctors go about the business, and just even before you do an injury, how you strengthen some of the areas around that the parts of the body in order to bounce back quickly. Like us, we couldn't bounce back. We're old Gary. There's nothing we can do about it. If Gary tears his ACL, he is done. He is not writing another story this year, and I'm gonna be right there with him. So, but it is truly amazing, Curtis. It's a credit to just the brilliance of the human mind and the stuff that we can do when we put our minds to it, and looking for different ways to advance.
Why did you move John Johnson into a prominent role?
John Johnson really came on probably about 2 weeks ago. I feel like you're attacking me right there with that question. He came on about 2 weeks ago, and you noticed him starting to move a little better. He's starting to get in shape and get healthy. And it took him a little while. It took him a little longer than I thought. I kind of mentioned this before. We threw him out there in the San Fran game in a smaller role. And, in order to win football games, you got to put guys in roles that you think can help you win. And we pulled him that role, and he wasn't ready yet. And then I watched him in practice, and I watched him attack, and I watched him go after it. And he really started to get better. He made some plays on the ball, and then putting him out there to get into his natural flow and rhythm of the game with his communication and his overall experience in being in those games and be able to calm some of the young players that he's around was really helpful for all of us. So having him out there was really great for us. It settled down the group, settled down a bunch of stuff, and he earned it. I didn't put him out there. John Johnson put himself out there with his work and what he's been able to do since he's been here. And I laugh when I read the most disappointing players in the Rams in the first half and all that type of stuff, and they put John in there, and he hadn't even been out there. But he's right where he needs to be. Picking him up in the offseason was a blessing for us. Came in, got himself into the shape, really picked up on the nuances and the new different things from when he left, attacked his group and got a part of the glue, the great leaders uniting everyone with Aubrey and Beak and where they've been, and getting the communication back with Russ and getting it back with Fuller and also JT and all these other young guys, being able to be prominent in that role and watching them and backing me, be a sarcastic other coach, and now getting them to be on the field and really go out there and apply some of the things that I've heard happen and I saw happen on scout team and both on defensive snaps. Really long answer he did a good job.
It seemed like you were using multiple safety, a lot more packages with all those guys out there. Was that just because of what was happening with the corners, your depth there, or?
Gary, when you go out and you got to put people in position to win a football game, you find out what they can do and what their role is. I love all of them, and I truly do, and I mean that. There's not one guy in this building I don't, have some love for, or really cheer for. And I want to put these guys out in roles that they can have success in and play fast and play smart and play together. And it was done last week in such a unified way that it made me proud because everybody took their role, didn't have to like it, accepted that role, went out there and absolutely executed that role. And that was the best version of us. And I don't know how else to explain that. Really proud of those guys.
Does that help you grow as a coach when you are spending time maybe to figure out what the best way to put guys in specific roles as opposed to just having an Aaron Donald? And I know you do a lot of
No
work
doubt.
too, but
I think, Sarah, if you feel like you're done growing as a coach, you probably shouldn't be doing this anymore. I'm going to go hang out with Gary and write stories about some other coaches. Or maybe go talk about it on game day. But I always want to grow as a coach. I always want to develop. I always want to grow as part of self-evaluation. As part of I want people to evaluate me at all times. I mean, even when you guys write bad articles, I like it. Sarah doesn't like what you're doing on defense. Okay, Sarah, what do you got to say? You know, and but I always want to grow. Like, I'm never above criticism, and I don't think I'm ever above finding different answers in order to go out there and try to get victories. Like, there's been people doing this long before me, and there are people doing it long after me, and like I just got so much respect for the game that I always want to grow and learn and develop.